In this video, I will compare my 2005 Mercedes E55 to the 2021 E63s and see what has changed over the years between the 211 and 213 generation AMG models. Starting under the hood, the E55 has the M113K V8 compressor engine rated at 469 horsepower and 516 pound-feet of torque. The E63 is powered by the M177 V8 biturbo engine, rated at 603 horsepower and 627 pound-feet of torque, so definitely a sizable increase in power over 15 years. The engine bay in the E55 presents a little better, with the supercharger nestled on top with the polished AMG lettering. The E63 isn't quite as spectacular, but if you look closely, you can see the two turbochargers peeking through. The E55 has a 5-speed automatic transmission with a torque converter. The E63 has a 9-speed automatic transmission with a wet startup clutch. Of course, the E55 shifts much slower than the E63 and cannot rev match downshifts. The kickdown of the transmission if you go full throttle is similar. Of course, the E55 is rear-wheel drive, while the E63 is all-wheel drive. And the E63 went back to having air suspension on all four corners, just like the E55. In terms of weight, the E63 sedan is about 200 kilograms heavier than the E55 sedan. And similar goes for the wagon versions, about 200 kilograms more than the E55 wagon. As for performance, the E55 can go from a standstill to 60 miles an hour in about 4.5 seconds. The E63 can do it in only 3.3 seconds. Obviously, the main reduction in time is from that fast transmission with launch control and the all-wheel drive system in the E63. The power delivery is very different between these cars. The power in the E55 is always instantaneous because of the supercharger. Whereas in the E63 there is a noticeable surge at lower RPMs as the boost pressure builds and the car accelerates. Overall, the E63 is noticeably faster than the E55 in all driving conditions, especially if the roads are wet. The driving experience of the two cars is very different. The E63 has a much more focused driving experience with a responsive transmission, precise steering, and tightly controlled body roll. The E55, on the other hand, has a softer, more comfortable ride. Body roll is much more noticeable in the E55. So over the last 15 years, the AMG E-classes have really been sharpened up, especially with this new model. Moving on to exterior styling, this is a subjective area. In my opinion, the W211 still looks great. It's instantly recognizable as a Mercedes-Benz, and it's easy to tell it apart from other Mercedes models from its time. The 211 has the classic styling of the upright radiator grille and the three-pointed star on the hood, compared to the large star on the front of the E63. The W213 is a good-looking car, and I think Mercedes has kept the styling relatively subtle with the E63. You'll notice that the doors are taller on the 213, and the windows are shorter than the older car. The disconnected exhaust tips on the E63 look ridiculous, whereas the quad oval exhaust tips on the E55 add to the car's muscular look. The wheels are 2 inches bigger on the E63, and the brake discs are about 1 inch bigger as well. Moving on to the interiors, the biggest change over the years has to be the design of the dashboard. The integration of 2 large screens has brought way more features to the driver. The steering wheel in this 2021 model is covered in controls. The E55 looks very basic by comparison, but still has an elegant interior design. Everything is operated by physical buttons on the E55. The build quality of the two cars is similar, maybe with the E63 having a slightly more solid feel overall. Something where new technology can't make as much of an impact is in the design of the seats. Both cars have great seats, but there is not much between them. I prefer how the seats look in the E55, as well as the texture of the leather. However, the massage function in the E63 is more advanced, with many more modes compared to the simple massage in the E55. The dynamic seat bolsters are also more responsive in the E63 compared to the E55. Driver visibility out of the E55 is better because of the shorter doors and taller windows, as discussed earlier. So overall, I think the E55 holds up well to an amazing new car like the E63. Good E55 seem to be selling for around $20,000 to $25,000 at the moment, or about $40,000 for a good wagon. Still great value for money. These cars are 15 to 18 years old, so they're going to need a bit of money here and there for maintenance and repairs. But the car itself won't lose any value even if you put some miles on it. I'm not going to lie and say that the E55 is better than the E63 or anything like that. There may be a few things here and there that I like better about the older car, but as a whole package, the usable performance and technology of the E63 is undeniable. The current E63 starts at around $110,000 before any options, and used models that are a few years old go down to about $70,000. Overall, the E63 has improved in many ways compared to its predecessors. It's faster and more fun to drive, and it is available with so many modern features. It's definitely a worthy successor to the E55. Thanks for watching, and if you want to see more AMG content, subscribe for more videos like this.